Hello, folks, and welcome to the Rangers Review pre-match briefing with myself, Johnny McFarlane, and joining me down at Anfield is Joshua Barry. How are you enjoying it down there, Josh?
Good. Some nice pre-match for Jonny, so that's set the evening up to a good start. But just been out to the ground there. Atmosphere building. Looks like there's a bit of a display as well. Some sort of tifo display in the Rangers end, or some sort of flags. So that'll be a nice addition to the night. Hopefully, the Rangers are competitive enough to allow it to kind of live up to the expectation that I think a lot of people have.
Yeah, on those expectations, Josh, I mean, how sensible and serious can expectations be about going to Anfield? You're talking about over the last 4 or 5 years, certainly in the Jurgen Klopp era, after maybe a difficult 18 months of just readjusting the team to his philosophy. There has been a realignment of Liverpool as being back to the kind of force of the past. How do you assess this game? How do you assess the chances of an upset? And let's be honest, it would be an upset if Rangers were to get anything tonight.
Oh yeah, if Rangers were to get anything, I think it would be a win's probably kind of unthinkable. But if you look at Dortmund away, for example, I think this would definitely top that. I guess there's two sides to it. Liverpool, you're right, on one hand, I guess on their day would argue their case as second or third best team in the world. They've been in 3 out of 5 of the last Champions League finals, and they've got a squad. You know, they could start Firmino, Jota, and Salah, and bring Diaz and Nunez off the bench tonight. They've just got so much attacking talent. But I guess the flip side to that is that they're not in their best moment. You look at their concessions against Brighton, you look at what the manager said yesterday, Jurgen Klopp, it was very much an admission of that, relating stuff back to 2020 when Liverpool had a really difficult spell when they didn't have centre-halves. So I think if Rangers are able to stay in it early and not kind of crumble as they did against Ajax, obviously much easier said than done. I think the key thing is, can they be brave on the ball and relieve pressure, not only by getting themselves up the pitch, but by trying to play through pressure a little bit. That's obviously been one of, if not Liverpool's biggest strength, and in the last few weeks hasn't been, as we wrote on the website today. So certainly I think there's areas that Rangers will be optimistic about, but you obviously got to caveat that with the fact that if Salah comes out and has a good game and Diaz comes out and has a good game, if Alexander-Arnold's influence, you just go through the talent that they have, and you think equally this could be a really difficult night. So I don't know. Hopefully, when we see the team in a couple of minutes, we'll maybe have a bit of a better idea of the kind of game that's going to occur.
Yeah, Paul McGarrigle is asking, Johnny, did Joshua see any different faces as any of the injured players possibly coming in? Paul, I don't think that there are, because I don't think there's anyone that's in a situation where they could be coming back. The player that we were expecting to potentially come back on the bench was Tom Lawrence, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen, given that he's now out for weeks, possibly months, according to Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. So it's very much the same squad that has been in play up until the international break, and then obviously in the win against Hearts. Josh, in terms of how they line up, you've displayed a real zeal to see at the back, which is unusual for you. You don't normally advocate at that, but on this occasion, you think that the defensive requirements mean that a back five is needed.
I just think it's honestly maybe it's just as simple as, or it's two things. I think firstly, what has been, as we said, I think on this morning when I was on my own, one of Rangers' most potent attacking weapons when they've been playing in transition against teams is James Tavernier at the back post. He is. I think even when you've got Morelos in that team, in terms of who do you want attacking the ball in the box, Tavernier at the back post is such a weapon. I think you want to get him into the attacking third as much as possible. I also think that you don't want to allow Liverpool with their width to have a lot of space down the sides, and if you have the extra centre back, it just gives you that little bit more width across the pitch. And what you're sacrificing, because maybe I don't think Rangers have, it's a balance between playing your best players as well, and I don't think Rangers have two wingers by which you can justify playing the shape to accommodate them. I don't think I'd be surprised if it's Matondo and Kent tonight, for example.
Right. Well, listen, Josh, I'm going to interrupt you because the teams have come in. We have got Alan McGregor in goals, James Tavernier John Lundstrom, Connor Goldson, Stephen Davis,
Wow.
Ryan Kent, Alfredo Morelos, Ben Davies, Borna Barisic, Leon King, and Malik Tillman. You'll be pleased to hear, Josh. Obviously, that is just a list in terms of their number, going from the lowest number to the highest, so it's not in the order of the positions. But I'll read that out one more time. McGregor, Tavernier, Lundstrom, Goldson, Stephen Davis, Kent, Morelos, Davies, Barisic, King, and Tillman. It's definitely three at the back, I think, Josh. Tell me otherwise.
I've just got it in front of me, so I'm calculating
Connor
as we go.
Goldson, Ben Davis, and Leon King all in the lineup. So
yeah, so let's start with that. So that'll be the back five with Tavernier and Barisic. Then you imagine it will be. So we've got Stephen Davis, John Lundstrom, and Ryan Jack, and Tillman. Oh, so Jack's on the bench. Oh, okay, sorry.
Ryan Jack is on the bench. Yeah.
Ryan Jack's on the bench. The bench. Tillman. I mean, Jonny. Well, I did say he might start. I just thought he didn't start at the weekend, and I didn't maybe expect it, but I'm kind of happy about that. I might come back to bite me, but I think Rangers need some creativity in the midfield, especially if they're playing three centre backs. Morelos is a no-brainer. Van Bronckhorst as much as confirmed it yesterday when asked about it, and he said you have specific players effectively for specific games and specific qualities will suit specific games. To not start Morelos tonight, I think would be mental. So happy with the back five. I'd like to see Kamara in there. I know he's not been in good form, and I'll caveat that before getting angry reaction, but I just think taking the ball under pressure, he's so good at that. Maybe equally you couldn't trust him tonight because he's not played that much recently. Stephen Davis, you know what you'll get from him. Important for me that Lundstrom's in the middle of the pitch, and it looks like he will be if it's King, Davies, and Goldson, as you say, Jonny.
Yeah, in terms of the way they're going to line up, Josh, you definitely see it as a sort of 5-3-2, as it were, or is there a potential for Tillman to play on the right?
I think what will happen is going off what happened against Napoli, you might have Kent will pull wide at points, but will also have the freedom to sit central. And as you say, Tillman can maybe be that most advanced midfielder of the three, or if Rangers do build a bit of possession, drift right. But I think it'll accommodate Tavernier getting higher, as you say, as I was saying a second ago, with him being the widest player on the right. And I guess it gives Rangers different options in game to tweak it a little bit. But I'd imagine it allows them to go 2v2, Kent and Morelos up against the Liverpool back two. Have you got the Liverpool team in front of you as well?
I'm going to read it out right now. We've got Alisson in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk, Tsimikas, Thiago, Henderson, Diaz, Salah, Jota, and Nunez. I mean, that front four, Diaz, Salah, Jota, Nunez, that is that's pretty serious firepower, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Wait, tell me that again. Tell me the front four again. I got distracted.
Diaz, Salah, Jota, and Nunez all playing.
Wow.
So
on the bench, Adrian.
Yeah, on the bench, Adrian, Kelleher, Gomez, Fabinho, Kanate, Milner, Firmino, Elliott, Ramsey, Carvalho, and Phillips. Serious firepower. Liverpool clearly going for goals in terms of that lineup, Josh. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
it's going to be a major task for that back line, and they've got to stand up and be counted. And listen, Leon King, 19 years old.
18 years old.
Sorry, 18 years old, absolutely, yeah. There's been some discussion about what is actually his best position, Josh. Is it actually right back? Is it centre back? He's about 6 foot, isn't he? He's not
huge.
On that, but I was speaking to I've spoken to people at the academy who say he's definitely a central defender, but he is going to be tested out there tonight no matter what happens, because you just look at the quality that Liverpool have. There is no doubt that Rangers are going to be under the cosh for periods of this game.
Yeah, I get the counterpoint to that. Is it just Thiago and Fabinho in the midfield for Liverpool then, or no?
Fabinho's not playing, mate. He's on the bench.
Okay, right. Okay.
So I need to get it again. It's Alisson, Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk, Simakis, Henderson, and Thiago. So it's
Right,
a 4-2-4 they're essentially playing, or 4-2-3-1.
There's two sides to it, I guess, then, for Rangers, one of which is that I think that's why you start a back five at Anfield, because you're going to have so many attacking options to keep quiet. The flip side of it is what have Liverpool struggled with recently is their pressure. Because as Klopp said yesterday, not getting pressure on the first man and then the gaps opening up kind of in the middle. Maybe that Rangers will be, if Rangers can bypass that first line of pressure, as difficult as that will be, they can have some joy getting up the pitch. What you would expect is, I don't expect them to try and play the ball around the box tonight whatsoever. What they've normally done with Alan McGregor in games of this style, Celtic away, the Old Firm in April, is kind of target his distribution long, instead of the 3-0 Old Firm defeat where he was just kicking along and losing it. In that game, he was hitting Sakala high up the pitch. So I imagine you'll see him today try to hit Morelos and Tavernier. But I don't think you'll see Rangers try to invite pressure around the box. I think they'll try to use Morelos, and that's why you need that physical presence as an outlet high up the pitch. And I think that goes probably maybe comes into the consideration with Tillman as well, because we know we've seen against Union how high he can jump, and Tavernier if he can get high up on that right hand side as well. But yeah, that's a daunting team to be facing. Especially when you're playing away from home.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of confidence though in the comments here, as you might expect, Josh. So we've got a number of people who think that actually Rangers can do a job on Liverpool. Graham Brown saying, if Brighton can score 3, then we can get 5. Graham,
Brighton are quite good to be fair.
Yeah, Brighton are not bad to be fair. But that's confidence, like to see it. Aaron Lang, I don't know how to pronounce that surname, but Aaron says, Salah has been poor, Núñez will get sent off, only danger is Diaz. Well, I think there might be a few others who have something to say about that, to be honest. Not least, I think a number of the attacking players that Liverpool have sprinkled throughout that side in different positions, and not just strikers, that can cause problems. Teddy Bear says Alfie is going to do Virgil. Well, we'll see about that, but that's certainly going to be a struggle for Alfredo Morelos going up against Virgil van Dijk. Someone else there, Callum C, saying he is an imposter, Virgil van Dijk. I think he's pretty decent, to be honest. I can't say I agree with that.
I'd take him at Ibrox, Johnny. I'd take him at Ibrox.
We'd take him, yeah. We'd take him definitely into that back five tonight. Absolutely certain of that. Josh, some people asking if Tav's playing right wing back. I think we think that looks likely. Aaron, if you're asking that. Al McInnes says he's not sure about Stephen Davis. Can he play at Liverpool's pace in midfield? And where will Tillman play? Well, we've already kind of discussed Tillman. Joshua thinks he's going to play off the front with Stephen Davis. I think he's been over the course so many times. He's always a guy you can rely on in tough situations. He's always going to use the ball well. So for me, Stephen Davis is a good shout. If you're going to ever need to use the ball well, it's at Anfield. So I think that is not a bad decision by Giovanni van Bronckhorst. Have a guy in that midfield who won't give it away when he gets it, because Rangers are not going to get it an awful lot throughout this game. I think that's fair to say, unless something quite strange happens. Bill Burns agrees with that. He says, glad Stephen Davis is playing. He brings control to the midfield, backing up my point there. So thank you for that, Bill. It's not often someone comes on and backs me up, so it's very good to see it when it happens. Callum C says, only if we pressure teams, it will be 3, but don't see that much. So a lot of comments coming in. Keep them coming in. Let us know what you think about this one. Josh, in terms of Stephen Davis, what's your take on that having the older head in there? He's not maybe the physical force that he once was when he was in his mid-20s. That goes without saying, but I don't watch Stephen Davis and think he looks largely diminished in terms of his capacity, because he reads the game so well and he moves the ball so well that I think most of the time he belies his years. What do you make of the decision to pick him? You were expecting Ryan Jack. I think many of us were.
Yeah.
But he's come in for this one, and you know it's going to be a big game for Stephen Davis in there, trying to control any kind of tempo.
Yeah, I guess he's done it a fair few times for Southampton before. Maybe that comes into it a little bit. As you say, I don't think an occasion like this will faze him whatsoever. He's got the energy of Lundstrom in there next to him. Maybe it tells you what type of game Rangers expect it to be. They don't expect it to be end to end in terms of the midfield having to cover loads of ground, but more protect the space and then try and release. And obviously, it's important that when Rangers do get the ball, whether that be when a Liverpool attack breaks down, flick on happens, the ball breaks from the front. It's important, obviously, that they use it well, that they're able to keep the ball to go forward. As I say, I thought Kamara might be in there next to Lundstrom, but Davis' experience probably comes into it a lot. But maybe it just tells you what type of game Van Bronckhorst expects. You don't anticipate the Rangers are going to go and be really high and aggressive tonight. We've seen them. Leipzig away is a good example of when they went and they were just pretty defensive from the off. They've also got the ability to switch to a 5-4-1 if they need to, maybe because they started that game 5-3-2 and then went 5-4-1. So slightly surprised, but I don't think anyone would complain about that given Davis's experience and the fact that he obviously only played a little bit of football the weekend, so should be nice and fresh.
Darwin Núñez, it's only his third start for Liverpool. He's had a bit of a stop-start beginning at the club, especially with the red card, I think, in the first game of the season, or certainly early doors, Josh. He's a player that massively impressed me at Benfica. Watching him against Rangers, his movement was electric. He's big, he's powerful, but he's not one of these guys that can't take the ball into feet and move it. He is agile. He is mobile. He is nimble with his footwork. He is not going to be a Lionel Messi, obviously, who can take the ball in extremely tight situations, but he's far from a slouch with the ball. I think he's a real danger tonight, Josh. And we have to be realistic. He's going to probably find it easier going up against the kind of centre-halves that Rangers have than he would be in the English Premier League. The standard is generally higher there, as we know, than it is in the Scottish game. Are you concerned about Darwin Núñez? Is he someone that you feel like will be out to show what he can do tonight and lay a marker down? Because I think he's a player that's capable of great things.
Yeah, and he's obviously, since the Community Shield, not had that moment, so I'm sure he'll be all the more eager to make it happen tonight. You presume it will be maybe Jota off of Núñez, or then maybe up as something of a two with Diaz and Salah from the right and the left. There's just so much talent in there, isn't there? Because you think of Alexander-Arnold, who will come inside a lot, and obviously has a decent right foot on him. Thiago, it's just so much quality. It's going to be so difficult, and I think for Rangers to get everything will need to go right. Equally, Liverpool have dropped points at home to Crystal Palace. They went and dropped points away at Fulham. They dropped points at home to Brighton. They just managed to beat Ajax in the last Champions League tie here a few weeks ago. But will a game like this tonight bring the best out of them? Will the fact that their manager seems to have really completely taken the handbrake off, and will that maybe provoke the team into their best performance of the season? Who knows? Obviously, all hypotheticals until we get onto the pitch. But yeah, I think I'm as worried about Alexander-Arnold as I'm Núñez and Diaz, Salah. There's just so much there, and even some options from the bench. So, cliche, but first 20 minutes, I think, very important. If Rangers can keep the game tight, they give themselves a chance. If they can get Kent and Morelos 2v2 up against the Liverpool two centre halves, if they're able to maybe play through the lines and expose the press, or take advantage of Liverpool in the way that opponents have done recently, maybe they'll have some luck again. To keep going back to that caveat, Diaz could go on a Messi run in the first minute. Alexander-Arnold can score from his own box almost. There's just so many threats you have to cater.
So, Joshua, let's just have a quick chat about your trip in general. What have you made of Liverpool? Is this your first time down there? Did you get to the Cavern Club last night? What were you up to?
Last night we went to a place called Honest Burgers, which was nice. You liked it, some nice local beers, which was good fun, and nice burgers.
I never got a chain. Honest Burgers is a good chain, but
is it a chain? Wasn't my decision. Good
burgers though.
Yeah, it was good. So did that, and then went to just lots of nice little bars. So did that. It was late. Ended up finishing my work when I got home about 2 a.m. because it'd been a very busy day up until that point. Up today, and then what was it? It was at the briefing. Obviously, had a wee hour walking down by the docks, which was really nice. Some nice buildings down there.
Windy though, yeah.
Very windy. Had a few media things to do, and then went into the B team game. So not seen too much of the city centre, but from what I have, really liked it. Quite an industrial feel to the city in many ways, quite similar to Glasgow. And yeah, the stadium's just really impressive, and the atmosphere around it's been amazing. So to just be here for a game like this is really exciting. Really looking forward to it. A lot of Rangers fans down here seem to be having a really good time as well. So hopefully they are rewarded with a good performance, particularly when this is the last away day of the Champions League group stages, because although there's Napoli, as we know, Jonny, there's not any fans allowed into the game, away fans in Napoli. So yeah, hopefully it does them justice for the huge numbers that have come down.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to think that, isn't it? That this is effectively the last game on 4th of October. That's it. Obviously, there's still, I suppose, some hope that Napoli might change their mind on it, but it doesn't certainly look like that from what I've seen on Twitter from various fan groups who have been trying to get in touch with Napoli. And I think Rangers have tried to get in touch with them as well to try and change their opinion and allow the fans in, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. It's such a sad set of circumstances that's led to that, because you don't need me to tell you how much I love that neck of the woods, that part of the world. I'm obviously lucky enough to still be going as a member of the press, but it's not going to be the same without the Rangers fans there cheering the team on, and for the away games to end after basically 3 games, it just kind of puts a wee bit of a dampener on things. But I suppose on the positive side, if you're going to get 2 trips, Ajax and Liverpool's not too bad at all, is it?
Not at all. 2 great stadiums. I think there's more anticipation for this game because it doesn't come on the back of such a damaging defeat, as was the case before, because Ajax was right after the confirmed game, obviously. I think you can just tell that, even your own anticipation levels for a game. It's hard to be optimistic or look on the bright side after a defeat of that nature. And again, speaking earlier, one of the points that comes up is that what happened in against Ajax in Amsterdam was that Rangers kind of folded for that last 30 minutes of the first half, and that hasn't happened in Europe since Gerrard's came back in. They've always been able to rely on their solidity, their shape, the fact that if they're under pressure, they won't ship 3 goals in quick succession as they did in Amsterdam. I think it's very, very important that Rangers, even if they're not able to get a result tonight, because we know how difficult that will be, that they're able to put in a performance that backs up the manager's feelings that they're on the right path after such damaging defeats a month ago. They can continue to build some sort of momentum, particularly when you've got Liverpool at home next week. You don't want to be going into that game with European football not a possibility at all, obviously, depending on what happens with Ajax and Napoli tonight. That might not be the case, but you don't want to be approaching that game knowing that it's only a very slim possibility.
Okay, a few more questions about Malik Tillman coming in, Josh. Let's just have one more quick chat about him before we call it a day and let you go and relax ahead of the big game. It is a big responsibility on Malik Tillman tonight, because I talked about him earlier in the week, and I said that he has a propensity to be more focused on his attacking duties. And this is one game where I don't think he's going to get away with that. He has to be immensely switched on. This is probably an unbelievable thing for his development. Bayern Munich will be delighted at the prospect of him turning out at Anfield against Liverpool for Rangers, because they know that this will develop that side of his game, I suppose. Are you slightly concerned about that? Do you think that's going to be a big examination for him tonight?
When Tillman first came in, I remember that I think it was the USG game, a couple others, even when he was playing slightly out of position, and the dummies that he made, the speed of touch, the fact that his first touch was always to inform what was happening. His first touch was normally a pass off and round the corner. You could see how intelligent a football player he was. He was someone that was in the Bayern Munich first team conversation until he did his ACL.
Yeah.
So you have to strike the balance when you come to a place like this of, yes, you want to beat it, hard to beat. But there's risk in everything. There's risk in playing a really conservative midfield not being able to get out. There's a risk in playing a midfield that isn't able to find your forwards in behind. There's a risk in playing players that aren't going to be able to do anything in attacking situations. So I guess it's a percentage game all over in every decision. Whether it be you choose a slightly more offensive player, a slightly more experienced player. But it is a vote of confidence, and I think it's probably an encouraging sign, given that Tillman hasn't played that much in recent weeks, that the manager trusts him to play in a game like this. And also, let's not forget that he hasn't played in big games. I know PSV away isn't the same in many ways, but it also was the Champions League playoff. It was a huge game. Let's not forget how big it was at the time, how significant it felt for Rangers to get back to that stage, and he obviously played a very big part in that. So I think it's probably the right decision, as I say, based on the fact that everything's a bit of a everything is a risk in a way, and hopefully he can show his quality in moments and influence the game, and maybe he'll just have the space to do that if Liverpool, if they are so aggressive. On the other hand, if Liverpool do overpower the midfield, then maybe it will be a situation in hindsight. I think having a Kamara or an Arfield in there would have been a better decision.
It's very, very difficult because no matter what you do, you're going up against a team that have better players than you. And that's the most difficult situation a manager can do. The truth is that Liverpool, every single one of their players that's playing tonight would get into Rangers' first team. So in that scenario...
It's a good wee point from Craig as well. Sorry, Johnny, just while it's there.
Yeah.
Tillman playing between the lines, something that Liverpool have struggled with. It's a great point because... if you look at the goals we highlighted on the website today, Brighton, Napoli, and someone else, I can't remember, there will be space there, and you need someone who has the technical capabilities to turn and play a pass in behind. I don't think that's Arfield's game necessarily. He's good at attacking the box. He can play with his back to goal. But if you want someone who can maybe take the ball in a tight area and turn, I think Tillman has the technical capability to do that. So I think that's a good point that Craig raises. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine, and that is a good point, and that's the one thing that Malik Tillman definitely brings to the table. On top of, I suppose, his physicality at set pieces. We know how good he is in the air, and potentially, if Rangers can nick a goal at a set piece, that could be a huge element of the game in terms of their attacking arsenal. Because I don't know what height Tillman is, maybe 6 foot, 6'1", something like that.
We've seen a high jump for that goal, didn't we? He's definitely got it, and that definitely comes into the reckoning for team selection. Set pieces, Rangers will presumably concede a fair amount of them if they've not got a lot of the ball tonight. So yeah, that definitely comes into it. I guess you've got a good few strong headers of the ball. And one player we've not talked about as well, Ben Davies, back. Another player like Ryan Kent against his former club, I'm sure will want to make a point. So there's lots of narratives tonight, Johnny. There's lots of things that we could be writing about. Hopefully it's just not an emphatic home victory. Hopefully it's a game that Rangers are able to compete well and give a good account of themselves, and because they've not managed to do that in the Champions League so far through a mixture of circumstance, and we know the level they've demonstrated in Europe in the past. It was only a few months ago that home game after home game after home game you were saying, can't they do it again? They've done it again. And the squad obviously has that in them. So in isolation, I hope that they're just able to put on a good account of themselves at kind of this level of European competition.
Right, I can see Alan McCoist and Gary McAllister behind you on the big screen there, which means it's time
Sadly
to call
not
it a day. I can see Andy Gorham booting the ball up for Mark Hateley's goal against Leeds in 1992. Let's hope we're having a similar result to that tonight. That would be absolutely sensational. Another Battle of Britain is in the offing, folks. Can't wait for it. We've got an hour to go. Joshua will be there, and at the Rangers Review, we will have every kick of the ball after the game in terms of the reaction from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and Jurgen Klopp, and ourselves. We'll be back later on with a wee video discussing what went down on the night. So if you want to keep up with all that, you can go on to the Rangers Review, where you will get all our content if you subscribe. It's only £1. That gives you 2 months access. Everything that we do on the Rangers Review after that is £2.99. Still an absolute bargain, given that we have detailed, insightful pieces every single day of the week. Well, let's call it a day there, Josh. What more can I say? Battle of Britain, bring it on.
Let's go.